lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us.
They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Hello. Is it me you're looking for? What up?
Are we about to be dancing on the ceiling?
We might be. I don't know. It's the Drive-In Speakerbox. You're tuned in. We have got a show for you guys tonight. We are going to be talking. We've got so many movies to talk about tonight. It is going to be reckless. We're going to be talking about Toy Story 4 tonight. We're going to be talking about what's the? We're going to be talking about Anna. We're going to be talking about. We're going to just be talking about news. We're going to be talking about things that have happened in the world of film and television. We're going to be where the action is. But first, we need to talk about news. We need to talk about what has happened. We need to talk about shameless self-promotion, I think, is what we first need to do. We need to talk about why I sat so far away from the side camera. Watch me. I got to fix some stuff. Check this out. There we go. Better. Okay, we're back. Here we go. We need to talk about. We got to. I hate to say this, but we got to talk about Disney again.
Don't we usually?
I know, and I don't want to. I don't always want to talk about Disney.
Remember when there was a time when it wasn't all Disney all the time? Mm-hmm. Not that long ago.
Yeah, it was not that long ago. In a time very, very near and dear to my heart when everything wasn't owned by Buena Vista Entertainment. But I don't know if you guys have heard about this little nugget of news. But Paul Feig from the head of kind of the Marvel Studios over at Disney. Isn't that his name?
Kevin Feige?
Yeah, whatever his name. Why do I call him Paul? I'm thinking of the guy that did the Ghostbusters remake. It was awful. But Kevin Feige. Why people with these last names? They're re-releasing.
What do people have last names?
They're re-releasing Avengers Endgame in theaters, and everyone's like, "Oh, extend it, uncut that." You know what they're doing, folks?
Making sure they beat Avatar.
That is correct. They were only $50 to $70 million short of beating Avatar as the #1 highest grossing. And this is the thing that...
There needs to be a big asterisk next to that in the history books when it does that, though. Kind of like guys that use steroids playing baseball. Like, sure, you did it, but you had a lot of help there.
You know, it makes me so angry to see this news because you know, this is something that I complain about a lot here on the Speakerbox, that you know, where so much of our culture and so much of, you know, film and movies are this weird bridge between the creative arts, the art world, and the commercial world. You know, people just aren't like rampaging about the new painting that just came out from this fantastic oil painter, or the new photography series from, you know, whatever. But movies are this weird bridge between ultimate commercialism and artistic creativity. And when everything gets completely geared towards the dollar, then it's just so sad and so lame that you know, you're re-releasing this movie because you have to be that #1 movie of all time. You have to get to that point so that you can just parade around and go, #1 movie ever, so buy more toys, buy more DVDs, we did it, we made another one, so that the next one we make will make all that money again. And that's all it is. It's just a marketing gimmick. It's not like this measurement of like, wow, look at the financial success of this movie during its theatrical run. Wow, look at the difference. Like, look at what this thing that it did. Now it's like they're forcing it. No, it's a competition and we have to win. And that's just, it's not what it's about, you guys. It's not what it's about at all. Didn't make
But
me
it
sad.
has new scenes.
No, it has the scenes that were the stingers at the end of the movie instead of before or at the end of the credits, and then there are a couple of deleted scenes, which is going to be like a blooper reel. And what's up, McLean? Tuned in over on YouTube. What's up, Vince? What's up? My dad's tuned in. We got some people tuned in there. Well, shout outs to everybody. But yeah, that's not a director's cut. It's not like an extended edition. This is a gimmick. This is a money grab.
Well, and a movie like this doesn't need a director's cut. It's not like, here's what their true artistic vision was. And
No.
the scenes have been reorganized so that you get a more comprehensive story.
You know, I would be more impressed if they waited like 10 years and go, you know what, we need to re-release this modern classic. And they're not going to do it because no one's going to give a shit in 10 years about Avengers Endgame. That's the difference between these movies. What's up, Grip's mom? Or dad, I don't know, using the same account. But you know, the thing is like Titanic was a movie that was important to a lot of people and multi-generations. And when they released it, it was like, wow, this was a thing that was important, like more than just grabbing cash.
Yeah, it had Billy Zane in it.
Exactly. But then when they re-released that as an anniversary edition, the movie still kind of held up with dinglings that thought it was a good movie.
Bro, did I not just say it had Billy Zane in it?
Actually, truth be told, when it was re-released in theaters was the first time I ever saw it.
Well, I saw it the first time it was in theaters.
Because of Billy Zane?
No, just because it was like the movie to see, man. It had Leonardo DiCaprio, and it had Billy Zane, and it had Kathy Bates, and it was Titanic. Man.
Over on YouTube, Red Sanjuro said that he said it was already too long. Maybe they should have taken scenes out. Yeah, if they had done like a truncated edition, like Avengers Endgame shorter than in the original, I'd be like, actually, you know what? Maybe that's the movie that it should have been all along, because cut some of that crap out. In the famous words of a man wiser than you and me, Dave Coulier, let's cut it out. And I'm sorry, I just quoted Dave Coulier. Just punish me. But yeah, as Vince said over on YouTube, wait till the year 3000, because seriously, you remember like in Conan, he goes, in the year or we'll just do in the year 3000. Avengers Endgame is remembered by no one and re-released in theaters and saw and cared about by no one in the year 3000. You remember that skit on Conan O'Brien? No one? Anybody? Anyone? Okay. Anyway, yeah. So there you go. But I think that this is upsetting news, because this means we're going to movies that perform well at the box office are the only ones that are, because what's going to happen is other movies, and they're crying. Disney's like, other movies edged down Avengers, so we weren't able to get number one. We didn't have it in 9 weeks of having every theater in the country to have our movie in it, and that's not fair to us. So we're gonna edge out even more small run, independent, struggling movies from other studios that they're just gonna go, get out of our theater, movies. We need more money.
Well, and it makes sure that they have full theater takeover, because Spider-Man comes out next weekend.
Oh, they're gonna make sure that it's either Avengers Endgame. They're gonna navigate this to where they can boot out all the like indie movies.
Well, that's
that
what I'm
can't
saying.
stand up to it.
Because it's like you go to the theater and you're like, oh, look, there's 4 different showings of Avengers Extended, and there's 5,000 showings of Spider-Man. But what's this other movie? Oh, no, I don't want to see that movie.
Because it's not a superhero. And, just like, get over yourselves, Disney. Oh, McLean over on YouTube, he said, and they also have Toy Story in theaters. Well, and that is true. And Toy Story did fantastic at the box office. Like, it made so much freaking money, like, in its opening weekend, okay? And they go, Buena Vista CEO said that despite the number one box office just blasting every other movie's butthole into prolapse this weekend at the box office, it did not perform as well as they had hoped. Get over yourselves. How much How good does it have? How much money does it need to make? How about what if it like made a difference, or was remembered, or impactful?
How movies used to be. You're like, oh, you remember that one movie that's so good?
Yeah. That every time it's on TV, you're going to watch it. You're going to put it on your DVD shelf. Not because you're going to put it in the back seat of your minivan when you drive to soccer practice to keep your youngest kid shut up. You're going to buy that DVD because you care about it and because it was impactful and meaningful in your life. And not just because it made a bunch of money at the time. You know, I mean, that's why Avatar is not that important. Yeah, it made a bunch of money, but who even cares?
How long have they been doing this MCU run? It's like over 10 years now, right?
20. 18, 19, I think. Starting with the first Iron Man.
That didn't come out in 99.
No. I'm just saying that's what they're advertising it as. They said, the Marvel Cinematic Avengers Endgame is over 20 years of... No, I get it. I understand. I think they're going back to the first Hulk movie in 1978. That's a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe that they're... let's see. Incredible Hulk came out in 2008. Let's see. Iron Man came out in 2008. But they're advertising 20 years. That's what it literally said on the thing. So I'm trying to go back. What Marvel Cinematic movie came out in what would be 99, 2000? Nothing. So they're lying to you.
I don't think that's a thing. But I forget where I was going with this now.
I don't know. Where were you going?
I don't know, man. Pretty sure it was only 10 years. What was I going to say
Let's
about
see.
that?
The Incredible Hulk came out in 2008. And what was the other one called? Just like Hulk?
Yeah. Ang Lee's Hulk.
That came out in 2003.
Yeah.
But that's still not 20 years. Math, you guys. Yeah, because it's 2019. So that's not 20. But they're advertising. Because, see, they wanted to take the 20 away from X-Men. Oh, God. If you say Blade... YouTube. Okay, thanks, McLean. He said, Blade?
Aren't they making a Morpheus movie? A Morbius movie?
They are making a Morbius movie from the Spider-Man universe. I just because we don't.
Oh, I remember now. It's been going on for a long time, right? There's not one person who goes back with like crazy nostalgia and they're like, oh, you know what? That Marvel movie really impacted portions of my life. Like, no one's like, it's not Star Wars. It's not Jaws. It's not Goonies.
It's not Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Back to the Future.
It's not even Dazed and Confused. You know? I mean, you know? X-Men, Vince, X-Men doesn't count in this one. It doesn't count in the MCU.
No one's going around like quoting like Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah, no, like, which is pretty much the only thing he said. Like,
I don't know. I watched the new Rainbow trailer before the movie.
And he's just quoting Hulk the whole time.
Yeah.
Maybe Hulk is quoting Rambo. Maybe. But anyway, that's in the news. Other actual news that's not Marvel Cinematic Universe. You hear about this. Danny Boyle has announced that he has written and is ready to produce a third installment in the 28 Days Later franchise, calling it a trilogy.
When was it that 28 Weeks Later came out? That was...
It seems like 28 years later. Yeah. That it's just, and I'm sure this will be 28 years later is probably what because it was days, weeks,
months.
And was it? Yeah.
No.
So this will be months, 28 months later. Red Sandra coming in with the Howard the Duck started the MCU. So anyway, just poo-poo on all that. But
see, Vince quoting your
Dazed and Confused, Dazed and Confused quote there in our comment section. If you're listening to the podcast, if you're listening to the audio only version of this, you can tune in live every week Monday nights, or you can check out the live video stream at any time. You can find us on our Facebook Live or our YouTube. We do these live Monday nights at 8 o'clock. Facebook is at the Drive-In Speakerbox. YouTube is the same thing, / the Drive-In Speakerbox. You could just get in there and just watch. You can binge it. You can binge us. It might be a little weird, but you can do it. But we're also on your Spotify and your Tuned In and your Google Music and your Apple Podcasts and your podcast app. Number 1, podcast app number 2. You can do all of those things right here with the Drive-In Speakerbox from the Speaker Lab Studios. You like these new curtains?
Well, you can listen to us. Don't come in here and like number 1 and number 2. We don't want that. But like,
No.
you can definitely listen to the podcast.
Bathroom's down the hall. Let's see. What else? Jamie Lee Curtis, David Gordon Green teaming up again and shooting a sequel to Halloween. Again, an unnecessary sequel because I'm pretty sure they got him.
I was about to say, are you crazy stoked? You were super into that remake.
The remake was okay. I was into that remake because it was like, okay, let's pick up where 1 and 2 kind of left off. Let's do this right. Let's bring Jamie Lee Curtis's character to kind of an end, even though I thought H2O was not that terrible. But then, I felt like it was good. It was a spiritual, like, great successor. It acknowledged the original story, picked up the storyline, and then they got him, like mother-daughter team-up style, like 2019 female empowerment. Get him, torch the evil man in the basement. Just like get his ass,
yeah.
And I guess his ass did not get got as much as it needed to get.
Does it ever?
I mean, he had his head sliced off in H2O, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure Indian curses or whatever the hell they tried to say in Halloween 4, getting your head sliced off, like that kills zombies, that kills White Walkers, that kills...
but in like the Rob Zombie Halloween...
It almost kills Dracula's.
Well,
No, it doesn't quite kill Dracula's.
In the Rob Zombie Halloween, he gets like shot point blank like at least 10 times in that movie and just keeps being like, oh, well,
That's true.
Whatever.
To Johnny Dalton over on YouTube, he said, if they want to knock my socks off, they would do a sequel to Season of the Witch. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Because there's many clips online, and there's even a recent one of John Carpenter at like some, mouth breathe con 2000 fart or whatever it is. And this guy's like, excuse me, Mr. Carpenter, like, what the hell was Halloween 3 Season of the Witch? Like, we all know it sucked. And then everybody was like, boo, you knuckle dragon cretin, like, get out of here with your Catan dice rolling ass and take a bath because you're wrong. And
attacking settlers out of nowhere.
Hey,
like
dude, that guy was, you could tell he was wood for sheep. And anyway, so the thing with Season of the Witch is it's a good movie. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is a good movie. It is not a Michael Myers movie. So that means it's a terrible Michael Myers movie, but it's a really good horror movie. And at the time, John Carpenter was so ahead of the curve because he was trying to Black Mirror us. And everybody's like, oh, God, Black Mirror. And like nutting all over their Netflix for Black Mirror. And when John Carpenter was doing it first, he's like, guess what? You know what? What if
John Carpenter was nutting on your Netflix?
Nutting on your Netflix before you even knew you wanted it. Because the thing about the Halloween franchise is it was originally intended, if you're a movie nerd, I'm just preaching to the choir, but if you're just tuning in and you're not movie nerds and you want to get in on this movie nerddom, I'm about to enlighten you with some knowledge. What John Carpenter wanted to do is he wanted to center this sort of film because he felt after Halloween 2 he told that story. He was like, okay, well, I've told the story of Michael Myers, and I think that let's make a series of movies that takes place on Halloween, and we'll tell these scary stories and make an anthology of scary movies that all fall under the Halloween title. That's like all these terrible, crazy, weird things happen on Halloween night, and let's tell all of those stories. And it was like, but we want Michael Myers again. And because we're all stupid, and that's the problem. The problem is with us the whole time.
They need to have more anthologies and less sequels.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what that noise you just made.
That was me agreeing, working in a nail salon and agreeing with you. But the thing is like anthologies are where it's at. I mean, it's no surprise that we're rebooting the Twilight Zone, and Black Mirror is being successful. And guess what? Shudder is resurrecting Creep Show. Did you guys? We've not even talked about that because I've been pumped about this.
You're the horror movie boy. My scary movies are relegated to like Gremlins and Critters, and
they're making another Critters.
Fright Night, and Idle Hands.
You like horror comedies?
Yeah.
You like Drag Me to Hell?
I've never actually.
You've never watched Drag Me to Hell?
No.
Oh, that's your homework.
Really?
Like, grip homework.
It doesn't seem like a comedy. There's
It's
no
Sam
comedy.
Raimi.
Yeah, but it's like serious Sam Raimi.
It's Army of Darkness. Like, it is not serious at
you
all.
sure?
I'm positive. It is like booger fight, gross out.
Like Army of Darkness or Evil Dead? Because I like Army
it's
of Darkness.
Evil Dead 2-ish.
See, I gotta have that full blown Army of Darkness.
No, I mean there's a sheep scene that's hilarious, and the gypsy with the like, oh, she's so gross.
Isn't
and
it the gypsy from Mystery Men, where Pee Wee Herman's character
Basically.
like, rips ass, and they're like, "Oh my god, it smells so bad." He's like, "It was the gypsy woman," and she's like, "You are cursed forever."
Yes,
like,
it was essentially that
it's
exact
the same
woman.
thing, right? I mean, I know enough about the movie.
But speaking of, okay, I'm gonna connect a handful of dots. Speaking of Mystery Men, where the flatulent guy was played by Paul Rubens,
There we go, Paul Rubens.
which tied with Pee Wee Herman, which tied me to the character he played in Buffy the Vampire Slayer as he's the vampire in that one, which led me to. Are you guys watching What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series?
No, I need to. I've seen some clips from it now that it started.
Okay, it's okay. The first 2 episodes I wasn't very into because it was borrowing so much of the same humor from the film, and I'm assuming it's because not a lot of people saw that film, and that's fair.
Who are you people that haven't watched that movie? I've watched that movie like 10 times.
Because it's one of the best vampire movies. It's like up there in the top 8 vampire movies ever. My mother had never seen it, and I was like, "Mom, you got to watch What We Do in the Shadow." And then after she saw it, she just like was texting me 15 different texts, like quoting the movie nonstop. But anyway, in the show, in one of the recent episodes, they did quite possibly one of the most hilarious and perfect vampire scenes ever. And so they, a couple of the characters in the show did a bad. They broke the vampire rules, okay? I don't want to spoil it, but they broke some vampire rules. So the vampire council had to come together and judge them. And Paul Rubens was there as the character from Buffy.
Really?
Yeah. And then
Is that where Taika Waititi shows up in the show again?
as the vampire from the original movie. Wesley Snipes is there as Blade, and they just go through and grab all of these famous, like Tilda Swinton was there as her character from Only Lovers Left Alive, which is another fantastic vampire movie, and they assemble like all these famous movie, like with the actual characters.
Was Kiefer Sutherland there?
No, but they mentioned him. They were like, "Where's Kiefer? Where's Kiefer?" It's so good. But yeah, it was a fantastic scene. Just paying homage to all of these fantastic vampire
Was the
movies.
dude from Fright Night there?
No, but what's his name? Machete.
Danny Trejo?
Danny Trejo was there as his character from Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh.
And so yeah, it was pretty good.
Was Eddie Murphy there?
As Vampire in Brooklyn,
Yeah.
I wish, because that's a good vampire movie. Man, I need to watch Vampire in Brooklyn again. That's your kind of horror movie.
No, dude, that movie scared the hell out of me when it
When
first
you were
came
like,
out.
what, 2? Like,
Oh, yeah.
watch it again.
2 years old.
Yeah, watch it again as a grown-ass adult, because the movie's actually pretty good.
Well, I was watching it in the middle of the night at a hotel, and it would just creep me the hell out.
Like, man,
I don't like horror movies, man.
I for a big old boy, like, you're so easy to just spook. And you're just like, ghost! And you like jump up and your legs go in circles and you go, pew!
Yeah, there's the filter. Yeah, I'm like Shaggy, man.
Oh, Johnny Dalton tuning in with the deep cut said Nicolas Cage should have been there from his, because he was in a vampire movie. It's not Once Bitten. Once Bitten was the one with what's his face?
I don't know. I can picture the cover. Isn't it the guy with the sunglasses, like in the vampire teeth? And he's like,
No, it's one of the greatest Nick Cagey moments.
I was talking about the Once Bitten movie cover.
Once Bitten. There's Once Bitten, Transylvania 65000. It's Nicolas Cage wears these like plastic fangs the whole time because he thinks he's a vampire, and it's. Oh man, I can't think of everything off the top of my head because I'm trying to think of the show that we got to run. But just Google it; it's there. You can find it. Anyway, oh man, we're running low on time. We got to review movies. Let's get into the things. We'll skip some news because sorry guys, we're gonna go and tell you what's coming out in theaters. Vampire's Kiss, yes, thank you.
Wait, hold on. Harry Potter video game's out. That's a thing that's going on. You can live Harry Potter right now.
It's true.
No, dude, it's Pokemon Go. I kind of played it a little bit.
Well, what do you catch?
I mean, you collect magical items that have been taken because it takes place in the future, and Harry Potter's an Auror, and he like conscripts you into like the army to fight the dark forces. So like Harry Potter's like, I'm Harry Potter and I need your help.
So it's like a mobile game?
Yeah.
Do you have to
it is Pokemon Go. It's made by Niantic. It uses all the landmarks.
So you have to wander around all the exact same landmarks as Pokemon Go. So you could actually play Ingress, Pokemon Go, and Harry Potter Flick'em Action.
All three the same thing.
At the same, you could just switch tabs and just get them.
Yeah.
Is he going to bring world peace like for those X number of weeks that Pokemon Go?
Dude, but you get to like go around and like you get to like.
Is there wizard battles?
I mean, kind of, yeah. You fight like dark wizard dudes, and you got like Protecto and like Expelliarmus. And
do you have to like sling your phone around?
No, but you have to put your finger on the screen and like follow the spell. Like
just like Ingress, because that was a thing in Ingress. You had to do the runes.
Yeah, but you know it's all Harry Pottery, so you have to like actually like follow the swish and flick.
Hey man, swishandflick.com. That's my jam. Swish and flick.
Anyhow, that's a big thing for people that like Harry Potter movies and fun things and stuff like that.
Yeah. Check out our new Pornhub channel, www.pornhub.com/swish and flick.
Yeah.
Okay, we got to talk about movies that are coming out in theaters this week. There are only 2 large releases. One actually looks interesting. The other is an abomination of everything that I hold dear in filmmaking. And we'll start with that one. Annabelle Comes Home.
I need to buy us an Annabelle doll to put in the background because of how much you love those movies.
So to again, this is something that I like to do here on the show. This is a new film about a prop from a sequel to a movie about 2 characters that de-spookify spook houses, right? And they're just like, oh, ghosts began. Look, check out our trophy room. Look at that thing. It's creepy as shit. And they go, whoa, that is creepy. And everybody that left the theater like goes, man, that doll was creepy. And then some asshole was like, let's make a movie about that creepy doll. And apparently it was Matthew McConaughey, who's the producer, I guess. And so this is a movie about a prop in a sequel that got its own movie, and then it got a prequel, and then it got a sequel, and this is a sequel to the prequel to the movie about the prop from the sequel of a movie. And that, yeah, this is the stupidest thing on the planet. Like, why? Why is this movie a thing and no one's going to see Child's Play? That's what I want to know. You want to see a killer doll? Go see Chucky, voiced by Mark Hamill, and not see Annabelle. Get out of here. Like, get out. We don't need. And it's like a Pokemon poster. Have you seen the poster? It says possess them all.
Really?
Yes.
Does that mean there's going to be an
Yeah.
army of dolls?
Gotta possess them all, Annabelle. Yeah,
Is it going to be like an army of dolls, like the mutilated Barbies from Small Soldiers?
It must be. It must. To answer Vince's question from YouTube, I think that Annabelle made her first appearance in The Conjuring 2 as a doll on a shelf. And they were like, "What's that thing? It's creepy." And he goes, "Oh, you don't want to know. It was super creepy. It was a scary demon doll." And
Was this in like a Chinatown shop, Gremlin style?
No, it was the two characters from The Conjuring who.
That would be
if I knew that no one at home was Googling, because I know you all are. If you would just be like, "Tell me the two characters' names from The Conjuring," because that movie's so impactful, you'd be like, And now this doll was a prop on the shelf in their movie. Which now there's a Nun movie. There's a sequel to the Nun movie.
I want to rewrite the origins of the doll to be like the Gremlins, like Gizmo and that, where they go to the Chinatown shop, like, "I need a gift for my kid. I just need any gift, whatever. I don't even care." And there's like the
And it's
blind guy,
Annabelle.
and he's like sitting there, and he looks at the doll. He goes, "Tell me about this doll." He goes, "Oh, that's creepy. You don't want that." And then looks away, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I definitely want that."
Better
and
get that.
Yeah, he steals it, and then it murders his family. And he's like, "Oh, who would have known?"
Why didn't the guy tell me?
This blind old guy in Chinatown
He's like-
was like, that is what he looks like, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was him. With his like pipe. And he's like, "Don't feed them after midnight."
Yeah. I forgot.
Yeah.
That's
It's like, bro, where are your pupils?
But
where are
al-
your corneas and pupils?
Also, wasn't he like, "No, you can't have that"? And the dude like puts his jacket over Gizmo and steals him or something?
Man,
I don't remember, but that's exactly what that dude looks like.
I wish they would
He
make
looks like the Lopan, like.
You know what I think needs to happen? I think like Hasbro and Mattel need to have like a battle, right? And so Hasbro like makes a movie, like a horror movie about a Mattel toy that looks like, obviously they can't get the rights to it, right? But they just make it that looks so close to a popular like toy that makes every child in America terrified of this real toy. Like, that's what I want to see. Like, Tickle Me Elmo to death, and or Tickle Torture Elmo. Like, that's what needs to happen. And then we're all like totally scared of this thing that's actually in our lives all the time. So every time we see it, we're like, "Ugh," just like Jaws did. Like, you know how many people didn't want to swim in the ocean after Jaws? All of them.
Bro, when I
And-
was a kid, I didn't want to like sit on the toilet or take a shower after watching Jaws. Anything water, I was like, nope.
It's going to get me.
Yeah.
Jaws is going to come out of this toilet and bunch off my booty hole. Johnny Dalton from YouTube says, "I always wanted to put a blow-up doll in the cupboard from Indian in the Cupboard and see if it would come to life as a boneless blob begging for death or your weenus. One of the two." I mean, why a blow-up doll? Why not like one of those like Stretch Armstrongs? Because he doesn't have bones either.
See, or land shark,
Yeah, land shark.
straight up scary thing.
You remember sewer
It's like
sharks? Not sewer sharks. Was
Street
it land
sharks?
Street sharks? Sewer shark was a Sega CD game. Street sharks was
Were
an animated.
jawsome.
Yeah, they were pretty awesome. Can we pull up a photo of the Moby Lick figurine to Street Sharks?
You're
This
talking
is
about the killer whale.
the killer whale with the very cunningliest like tongue there. It came out and it had a dial on it, and it would spell letters with his tongue. Let's just say that tongue would come out and it would rotate around and around and around and around, and it was the creepiest toy on the planet. But yeah, that was a fantastic
Look
toy.
at that pose,
I used to have one of those. Yeah, and Moby Lick.
dude. Street
was his
Sharks
name.
was sick.
Sewer shark, sewer shark, sewer shark, sewer shark, sewer shark, sewer shark, sewer shark. Vince challenged me to say sewer sharks 10 times fast. But Biker Mice from Mars was also a really good movie.
Wow, we're
Johnny.
getting real 90s
Yeah,
right
we
now.
are. Dang. Showing the age of everybody.
Yeah, Vin Diesel bringing it back to some Fast and Furious right now. Vin Diesel
Street Sharks.
was in a commercial for Street Shark toys.
Yeah, man. Anyway, Annabelle Comes Home coming out in theaters this week. Screw that movie. Also coming out in theaters, I don't know if you've seen the trailer to this, but this movie...
I did.
looks really interesting, except, and I'm about to drop a really big bomb on everybody after I tell you about this movie, but the movie's called Yesterday, and it's a Danny Boyle film, who I really, really do like Danny Boyle. He's a very talented director. We were just talking about him with the 28 Days Later, but it stars Himesh Patel, Lily James, and, as some other people. But the movie is about this struggling musician. Like a global event happens, and then he wakes up and realizes he's the only person on the planet that remembers the Beatles. And so he kind of wakes up in an alternate timeline where nobody remembers the music from the Beatles except him, and he happens to be a musician, so he starts like playing and recording these songs.
How fortuitous.
Yeah, how fortuitous indeed.
It would be way better if it was a guy who was not good at music at all, and he was like, it kind of sounds like...
It sounds like this. Hey, Jude. Da-ba-beep-bonk. Bum, 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 bum. Take that and make it better.
Yeah, he has no idea what the lyrics are, and he's like, it's kind of like that.
It kind of goes like,
really good.
Na, 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 na.
Okay, that's too much in my microphone, in my headset.
But that's essentially the movie. And, I really love the premise to this movie. It's Danny Boyle. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. The trailer looks great, except for I don't really like the Beatles. I know, guys. I know. I said it. Across the Universe wasn't my jam. The White Album, not really my jam. I just go. I don't really like the Beatles, man. I don't really like the Eagles, and I don't really like the Beatles. I don't think I like bands that have Eagles somewhere in them. I don't know. I mean, they're all right. They're good.
I don't like these decade defining bands, is what you're saying. Mm-hmm. Like, that band is like the poster band for this point in history.
They had some really good songs, but I would never consider myself like a Beatles fan. I mean, they're good. Like, I can recite lots of them. Paul McCartney seems like a real cool dude. Yoko Ono even put out some jams. Like, and she's like a tertiary honorary Beatle, if you ask me.
Wow. Okay. I think some people would probably be okay with you being like, I'm not real big on it, but then that.
I just crossing the line.
That's going to get you in trouble right there.
But, I don't know. The strawberry fields for a limited time for me, not forever. Well, of course. I mean, Vince says he loves the Beatles, but he thinks the songs were dated if they came out today, and that's to be said about a lot of music. There's a lot of really good Beatles songs out there. The Beatles did change the world, but so did nuclear explosions, and we're not saying that those are great either. But the bubonic plague changed the world. Coal changed the world. That's not good anymore. Alestra changed the world for a minute, and it gave us all diarrhea. So you guys remember Alestra? Google it. It's just sometimes changing the world. The Kiss. I don't try to tell everybody else that Kiss is the greatest band of all time, even though they are. But it's just my personal belief. And we can each believe in our own greatest band in the land. Kiss. Anyway, so that movie is coming out. And that's your movies that are coming out. We need to review movies because we are running low on time. Because... we started about, 15 minutes late? So we've got about 15 minutes. And we are going to try and pack in 2 reviews. We're going to talk about Anna, and we're going to talk about Toy Story. Grip's going to talk about Anna. Here we go. And Luc Besson's new movie, we talked about it. Here it is. What'd you think?
Oh, man. Okay. So, Anna, you got a lot of stuff kind of going on in this movie, man. Very Luc Besson-y.
Luc Besson.
Yeah. I mean, you get your weird French guy arty type deal going on.
Heck yeah.
But it's kind of, there's a lot of cliches, and I don't know, man, you just threw me off. Here,
Luc Besson.
Yeah, Luc
guns,
Besson.
girls,
Yeah.
shooting, flips, Paris, probably.
So
I didn't see it.
there's a lot of Paris.
Thought so.
So the main actress, Sasha Luce, she is actually a Russian model, and this movie kind of follows her real life, but if it was exaggerated and stuff, and it has like this kind of tired.
If she was also an international assassin.
Right. It kind of has like the tired cliche that all Russian people in movies are KGB, which is what this was.
Well, one of my really good friends, I suspect, looking at you, Tolik, I'm pretty sure he's KGB.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so she, and the tagline of the movie is that she has a secret and it'll help her do whatever. There's no secret, man. Basically, everyone in the movie, it's like, if you're Russian, you're a spy. That's just you. That's what it is. But it goes into like the world of this girl, and she's smarter than
Does
what
she
you
meet
think she
John
is.
Wick?
No, but
I thought it was in that world.
no, but it kind of feels like an attempt at a.
I think all these movies need to be in the assassinating world of John Wick, kind of like the Wizarding worlds of Harry Potter.
Yeah, but it feels like an attempt at like Atomic Blonde or John Wick like type movie, but with that Luc Besson flavor to it.
Because he kind of invented that flavor, you know? He was the Doritos Cool Ranch to where everybody's now eating Doritos like butt blister or whatever the hell flavors they got out now, like with Spider-Man's on the bag, and it's like Blazing Cajun tahini noodle crunch. You know, like, what is this flavor? But Luc Besson was the Cool Ranch.
Well, and it has a lot of weird time jumps in it, man. So it starts out and it's like 1985, even though every car in the background is from 2015. And then it goes 5 years later. And so the majority of this movie is supposed to take place in 1990. But then it does all these time jumps. So it's like 3 years earlier, 6 months later, 6 months after that, 2 years before that, back to 1990, 3 months ago, 5 minutes ago, 5 minutes into the future, another year in the past, and then back to 5 minutes from where we started in the first place.
That sounds complicated.
It is, and it's kind of a chore to get through all of that, and everything is like this cliche spy movie, like, but is that really what happened? Look at it from a different angle when you go back in time 5 minutes, and you're like, oh, I thought she did this, but in reality, she did this thing, and it completely, like, changes the outcome.
So there's alternate viewer perspectives. Is that what you're saying?
Via time jump.
Okay. So, okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
So every time you think something's going on, psych, something else is going on, because you have...
So the viewer is not the perspective of the main character?
Not always, no.
Okay.
But it goes back and it shows you what she was doing.
I mean, honestly,
when the
that's
camera cut away.
Really tough thing to translate on screen. Only a few directors ever even attempt it because it's hard.
Well, and it was kind of exhausting to watch it in the movie, but... You had Cillian Murphy and Luke Evans and Helen Mirren and then Sasha Luce, and you go through and you see all of them at different points, and it's like, but then 2 years ago, this is what they actually did that you didn't see, and here's a revelation about that time that you didn't find out at that time. But if you go back in your mind 10 minutes ago in the movie when they were showing 2 months ago in their timeline, crazy things.
I kind of want to see this movie now.
Really? That makes you want to see it?
I mean,
it
was because it sounds weird, and I
it
like
was
that
definitely
kind of
weird, but it was something. You get some good performances from like Helen Mirren and Cillian Murphy in it. You know,
sounds very Luc Besson.
Yeah.
So all right,
I don't think it's anything that you're going to have to watch, and I think its box office reflects that.
I don't think it's going to last very long.
No.
I mean, it opened up at number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Youch.
I think it's probably something that would be like if it's on TV, you're gonna be like, "What the hell am I watching?" And it mainly just focuses on this girl who
Kills people.
does sex to people and then shoots someone every now and then, and her her trials and tribulations because she tries to trust people and then she's always like, "Can I trust you?" But I don't trust you. And then someone else was like, "Oh, you can trust me," and she's like, "Can I trust you?" And they're like, "Yeah," and she's like, "Okay, I do."
But psych though.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole movie. It's like, "But psych though," and you're like, oh, "Okay, what? Okay." And after about the fifth time, you're like,
But psych though.
"Yeah."
All right. Well, Anna is in theaters right now. You can check it out. It is probably only going to be in theaters for another weekend.
Yeah,
so
I mean, if you want to watch it, then
it's
better
there.
do it quick.
Just go watch La Femme Nikita like the rest of us already have.
Or
Just do it.
Leon.
Or yeah. Or
If you're gonna watch a Luc Besson movie, watch Leon.
yeah, or The Professional, as it's called here in the U.S. Because it's good, guys. It's real good, and it has a really young what's her face,
Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman,
And it has Gary Oldman.
and Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman, one of the greatest actors.
Helen Mirren was like the Gary Oldman of Anna.
So she was the psycho crazy bad guy.
Kind of. She was like the super like KGB smarty pants that's like in charge of. She's like Anna's handler.
There's always one of them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Anna's in theaters right now. You can check it out. Moving on, because I got to wrap this up in 10 minutes. We've got Toy Story 4 to tell you guys about. Toy Story 4. It is in theaters right now. It made all of the monies, but not enough monies for Disney because Disney says it underperformed. And bollocks to that. And I don't really know where to start with Toy Story 4. I will say the one sentence, I walked out of this theater not unsatisfied. It was a sequel to Toy Story. It was another one in the franchise. At this point, the sequels are starting to get murky in my head because the first one is probably one of the most impactful animated CGI animated movies like ever, like easily. It changed the game because Pixar was doing something different. And it happened to create this sort of perfect storm of two characters with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks that created a story that all of us can kind of relate to. That was kind of the power of early Pixar, of John Lasseter borrowing a page out of the playbook of Studio Ghibli and created this thing for American audience that really made us sort of grab on and latch onto these characters in a way that was personal, because we all had toys that we loved and we all shared these experiences of growing up and changing from, you know, a child that played with toys to either a fat nerd that collected them or an adult that lived a functional life or whatever. Says the guy with a rack full of toys in the background. But no,
I feel personally attacked.
And that's the point, is when we watched the original Toy Story, we all felt personally touched by this movie. And, you know, Toy Story 2 came out, which was a logical sequel. It kind of expanded the universe a little bit. That's when we got Jessie, I think. Did we get Jessie in Toy Story 2?
Yeah.
And it told that...
That's the one where Woody is the... collector's item.
He's an antique.
And you have Kelsey Grammer as Stinky Pete.
Yeah, the prospector. And
Wayne Knight is the restoration guy.
That's right. And then in Toy Story 3 is where it starts to get a little murky for me. And that's when I think the landfill happens.
Yes.
And college for Andy happens.
Right.
Because in Toy Story 2, Andy had a sister, right? Like a baby sister. And then Bo Peep still had a reason to exist, and like all of these things. This is where the timeline between 2 and 3 things get a little murky for me, because 1 is that one that impacts you and you remember it and it lasts and you can quote it and you can rewatch it and it's "You got a friend in me" and like everything and it's Sid and the dull and the clap and like all that was super cool. And in this one, this is after the toys have been donated to Bonnie. Like in the end of Toy Story, I guess it was 3, Andy donates all of his toys to a new little girl.
Right.
And they live at Bonnie's house. And this is a story, the trailer makes you think it's all about this character Forky. Like, Bonnie, their child, goes to kindergarten and makes a little friend, and he's made out of pipe cleaner and popsicle sticks and a plastic spork, and he's this bit of a nihilist. He's kind of like, I'm made of trash, like my purpose is to go into the trash after I've been used. Why am I still here? I need to. And there's this kind of funny gag line, which is
the most relatable character yet.
It's kind of dark when you think about it. I mean, this spork wants to kill himself through the whole movie. And but then he comes, like, Woody takes it upon himself because Woody has nothing left to live for. Like, Woody is not the favorite toy anymore in this movie. So really the movie's not about Forky. It's about Woody coming to terms with he's no longer relevant. And on a macro scale, I think that this is kind of interesting that, like, this has to close the Toy Story franchise. If this does not close the Toy Story franchise, then I've lost all faith in Pixar, even because Pixar is still.
You didn't do that when Cars 2 came out?
Cars was Cars Pixar?
Yeah.
Or was that Disney Animation?
It was.
Oh, Planes was Disney Animation. Cars, I think, was still Pixar.
Yeah, Cars was.
But, in this movie, it borrows so heavily from the previous 3 Toy Story movies. I mean, there's the idea of being a broken or a lost toy, which happens in part 2 and part 3. It has the whole antique store, like, oh, you're an old you're a collector's edition. They spend most of the entire movie in an antique store. It's just really bizarre, but it works on a certain level because it's very relatable. And these characters, we've kind of fallen in love with all these characters, and we want to see more of Woody. And I mean, they kind of empowered Bo Peep a little heavy-handedly, which is pretty on the money and in par for the course in 2019. But not in a way that it didn't make the story not less engaging. And by the time you're done, you're just like, yeah, that was fun. But
how do they explain that Bo Peep, who had like her outfit built into her toy and couldn't
the fact that she's ceramic, and now is like this bad bee, like, I don't need a man or a child, I'm gonna live my life to the fullest adventure now, I know karate, and like all this kind of stuff.
How did she go from being like fully plastic cast or ceramic where nothing about her could be altered to having like Mad Max attire type thing going on?
Empowerment. That's how. That's exactly how.
Toys work.
That's not how this universe works either. But that is how reaching an audience and basically placating everybody's needs.
That's not how physics works.
Hey, well, when you're trying to meet the demand of a whole bunch of angry people on Twitter, then you really have to just throw out everything that exists in the natural world and get that money, because that's what this is really about, Disney. We know. It's just about snatching up that money. And there's a lot of funny moments. There was a couple laugh out loud moments. I really think that the inclusion of Key and Peele as characters was really just unnecessary fan service.
Oh, Jordan Peele does it too? I knew.
No, they're together. They're sewn at the hip, and they're these carnival prizes.
Well, I knew that Keegan-Michael Key was in it. I didn't realize that Jordan Peele was not above doing.
Yeah, I mean,
voiceovers now.
They're not above money, and I don't think any of us are. But it was also really weird seeing a couple of digitally recreated lines from Don Rickles, who has died as Mr. Potato Head, and that was kind of strange, but it was very, very minimal. Buzz Lightyear was essentially distilled down to a pratfall style sort of, bounce jokes off of character, which he kind of always has been, except for the first one.
But how much of it is because Tim Allen and Disney don't exactly get along since they canceled Last Man Standing from ABC?
I don't know. Food for thought. food for thought. But Christina Hendricks did a really good job as Gabby, who was very much the Stinky Pete style of character, just kind of a repeat. And that was a problem that I had with this movie. It's not that it wasn't just fun and interesting and engaging and made you laugh and made you smile and made you a little sad at the same time, like the Toy Story franchise tends to do. But it was just a lot of recycled ideas. It's like, okay, how many kids? How believable is it that these ancient freaking toys are, going to be passed down over and over and over to, a fourth generation or a third generation child and be played with like a brand new toy, and not fall apart. Or, I mean, these toys are running in the rain and jumping on fireworks and and then Bonnie's like, oh, I'm not interested in the toy that's on TV right now because I'm a millennial child. It's like, I'm going to pick up this toy from the 50s and love it. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. And that's where I think that Toy Story is separating from what made it so special in the first place, is because it captured a moment in time and a moment in everybody's childhood where they were very engrossed in their toys. And they're just like, well, now we got to stretch this out for 5 movies. And that's not reality. Toy Story 1 was stretching reality. Toy Story 4 is just postponing the inevitable. And but it was fun though. So yeah.
Was Duke Kaboom okay? Or was
Duke Kaboom was hysterical.
Oh really?
And because he was a Canadian Evel Knievel, and
Keanu Sans.
It was. Hey man, Keanu. You didn't realize it was Keanu Reeves. And he was. He'd missed his child who had this hilarious French name, and he was the Canadian stuntman, and he was it was pretty good. Anyway, all right, well, there you go. That's Toy Story 4. It is in theaters right now, and we need to do the box office roundup and get the heck out of Dodge. So let's do it.
Yeah, before we move too far away from it, Johnny on YouTube said something about how Anna sounded like a choose-your-own-adventure book, reading it from front to back without choosing the adventure. And that's kind of how it was a little bit. So I think he's a little spot on with that, because it's kind of like the Clue movie where it's like, but is that really what happened? No, let's go back.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's true. All right, well, let's do the box office roundup for the 21st through 23rd, 2019. We'll start with number 10, work our way up to number 1, and and that'll be it. So, number 10, Dark Phoenix, ouch, in its third weekend release, dropping to number 10 from Fox, bringing in $3.5 million in its third weekend release, $60 million domestic gross, so youch. Number 9, Anna, ooh,
tough opening.
Oh, yeah, tough opening indeed. Lionsgate, Searchlight bringing in, just Lionsgate, bringing in $3.6 million in its opening weekend, and still over 2,000 theaters nationwide. That's pretty rough. Number 8, Godzilla King of the Monsters from Warner Brothers, bringing in $3.8 million in its fourth weekend release, bringing it up to $102 million. Still has not crossed its budget of $170 million, but they don't want you to know that.
Well, and that's only within the U.S. Godzilla did real big overseas. So,
but like Warcraft, let's always remember Warcraft.
Yeah, but Warcraft hasn't been an established thing since 1954. It's
been an established thing since 1998. Just saying. Actually, probably even before that. Number 7, John Wick 3 from Lionsgate, bringing in $4 million to the box office. 6 weekends out, has brought in $156 million, the highest performing John Wick to date. Number 6, Rocket Man, which I also went and saw this week. I
almost saw it instead of Anna.
It was pretty good. I'll give you the one sentence. It was pretty good. If you don't like musicals, don't see this movie. It's very musical, like where people just start flailing their arms about randomly, and then the guy that's sitting making copies is all of a sudden knowing the dance you're doing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very musical.
Choreographed dancing.
It's
spontaneous singing,
borderline Fiddler on the Roof style.
Well, But so Taron Egerton does all of
the songs.
singing.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
It was actually pretty good. I walked out of it enjoying it. I mean, obviously because they stretched the retelling of it, so it's very fantastical. While telling kind of Elton John's story, it made it fun. So yeah, pretty interesting. No, I'll talk more about it next week. $5.6 million at the box office. In its fourth weekend release, $40 million budget should brought in $77 million at the box office. Number 5, Secret Life of Pets 2 from Universal, bringing in $10.2 million. Up against its budget of $80 million. 3 weekends out has brought in $117.5 million at the box office.
It's just insane that John Wick and Secret Life of Pets just stomped Godzilla that hard.
Secret Life of Pets, dude. CGI animals doing people things. Told you that. Number 4, Men in Black International from Sony, dropping down to the number 4 spot in its second weekend release, bringing in a total of $10.7 million. Up against a budget of $110, bringing in a total domestic gross of $52 million.
Yeah, that movie sucks.
Yeah. We reviewed it last week if you want to check it out on our podcast. So you can check out that in the past. Number 3, Aladdin, hanging in there in 5 weeks, still in the number 3. What? Buena Vista bringing another $13.2 million. Budget of $183 is brought in $288 million at the box office, slaying it. But you know what? It's just not. Toy Story just isn't performing the way that Disney needs it to.
They're going to have Avengers, Spider-Man, Aladdin, and Toy Story all in the movie theater.
Yeah, guys, there's trouble a-brewing. Number 2, Child's Play, the remake, bringing in $14 million in its opening weekend, up against a budget of $10 million, so it did its job, but $14 million opening compared to what the number 1 that was underperforming made is just insane, which leads me to the number 1 movie in America, Toy Story 4, Buena Vista, again, bringing in $120 million at its opening weekend at the box office, which is insane. That is more than all of the other top 10 movies made combined. Mm-hmm. And they're like, it just did not perform the way we thought it should have. We needed it to go into your homes, grab you by the ankles, pull you upside down and your children's, and spank your bottom till all your monies fell out your pocket into our pockets. Because that's why we do this.
You can't try to squeeze Avengers money out of people and expect them all to be able to go watch Toy Story at the same time.
Exactly.
Disney.
Guys. Let Avengers exist on DVD. Oh wait, no one cares about DVD anymore. Put it on your Disney Plus and just plus it. Whatever. Anyway, $120 million. It made a lot of money. It's doing just fine, thank you. But that's your top 10 movies in America for the weekend of June 21st through 23rd, 2019, and that's our show.
Hold on. You know what? I missed yesterday. We all missed yesterday because I didn't know about it until 35 minutes before time.
What was yesterday?
Forrest Gump, 25th
That's
anniversary.
Tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
You can go see Forrest Gump.
Make sure you're not like me and check Fathom Events for all these cool movies that are coming back to movie theaters and find out about them ahead of time instead of missing out on it. And you can watch Forrest Gump in the movie theater.
Although, when I go to Malco, it's like, they got all kinds of popcorn. They got popcorn on the floor, popcorn in the seats, popcorn in the aisle. They got stale popcorn. They got buttered popcorn. They got popcorn in the bathroom for some reason. They got overflowing trash cans with popcorn. It's just all the popcorn. But anyway, Forrest Gump in theaters next week. So that's it. This week. Tomorrow. That's what I said. Tomorrow. That's what I said. Tomorrow. But anyway, we're out of here. I'm Boom Operator. Like and subscribe. Find us on Facebook. Like, share us, link us. YouTube.com/The Drive-In Speakerbox. Find us on your favorite podcast app. And we will see you guys next week. Later, dudes.